Okay, fight fans, it's the Zone X series time. That's right. We all know KSI is going to be sharing a ring against Wassabi on August 27th. But on the undercard, we have two men that are all ready to mix it up in the ring. King Kenny versus FaZe Sensei, and they're both joining us right now.
What's up, fellas?
What's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
To the show. I mean, it seems like you guys don't have too much animosity towards each other, but I want to start with you, Kenny. First off, I know that you're aware of the backlash that the YouTubers are getting for entering the sport of boxing, and there is a group of people that are very supportive because we understand the concept. How do you feel about it as far as like the negativity that it gets?
It's obviously, I don't think it's a good thing, because obviously people should look at us as people that's taken, the sport seriously. And, there's a lot more eyes. YouTubers bring more eyes to the sport. So they should look at it as a good thing, especially if we're putting in the work to train and take the sport seriously.
100%. I believe that. That's one thing I believe. As long as you're taking the sport seriously, you're still getting in the ring and risking your life like everybody else. But FaZe, you're a martial artist. I grew up in martial arts all my life. Like a lot of things that I've noticed in martial arts, like I grew up in Seido, Shotokan, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. People say that they don't have hand skills. What do you say to that?
It depends on the martial art, right? It makes sense, because if your martial art isn't teaching that, you're not going to have hand skills. My dad was my instructor. He's the owner of our school. He grew up as an amateur boxer. So like in our system, boxing is a big part of it. If you're training boxing, you're going to be good at boxing. If you're training punching, then it works. But if not, certain arts don't have it. So therefore it won't work,
Yeah, FaZe, look, Kenny has recently took up boxing. So you being a martial artist and having experience in that combat circle, I mean, do you feel like you have an upper hand and almost to the point where it's not a fair fight?
I don't think it's not a fair fight. I think the internet is crazy. I mean, everyone expects, people are saying on the internet that they think I want to knock out Kenny in like 30 seconds. The stuff that I've heard on the internet in the last 10 years, they think I should fight Conor McGregor. Like the stuff that I get is absolutely crazy because it's the internet, So that's just part of the game, especially like in our community. But yeah, obviously my experience, I've made the walk 7 times between like boxing, kickboxing, and MMA at an amateur level. So like locally and things like that. So obviously that experience is going to be there. But Kenny's been training in a vacuum, right, in boxing, right? And I don't train in a vacuum in boxing. So obviously that's going to help him. So I think with that being said, it makes sense.
What do you have to say, Kenny? Can you respond to that as well?
I mean, he's right. It's a really good matchup. Obviously, he's got experience, but I've been just doing one thing, boxing. So I think his experience and me just focusing on boxing for like the last year or so, I think it's going to be a really good matchup. So I'm excited for the fight.
All right. So how confident are you, Kenny, that you're going to win? How much would you bet on yourself?
I'd bet 10,000 that I'll win.
All right.
Are you willing to bet that with Kenny?
I'm not a millionaire. Otherwise, I would put millions down.
All right. What I'm saying, are you guys going to bet here live on the show 10,000? FaZe, are you willing to do that?
No. I'll tell you right now. I am not a betting man. I never bet, especially fights.
So you're not that confident in yourself?
No, I just don't.
They're trying to stir the plot right now.
I'm just saying, like I'm not a. Well, look, I'm not a betting man. Well, I'll lie.
Yeah. You are a betting man.
I am a betting man. But Rock, you have said it before. Like, if you were sure about something, you might be tempted to bet. So if you're sure on yourself, why do you put that up?
Go ahead, FaZe.
Yeah, I mean, I get that statement, right? But people always ask me like my opinion, like fights, like betting odds on like certain fights. And I'm like, listen, I never bet, because you think something's going to go, it's not going to go well. Obviously, I'm the outside in, but betting on myself, yes, I believe in myself. I'm confident in myself. I think I'm going to go out there and win. But it's martial arts, man. It's combat sport. You'd be crazy to think that anything is there. Now, just saying it, I'm gonna bet money myself. But if I had 10 racks right now, would I put it on the table? No, I'm taking that home. I'm getting married next year. I need that
There
money.
you go.
Fair enough. It's safe to say that Kenny's just a little more confident than FaZe, but nevertheless.
Wow, that's what you get from all of that. The man said he wanted to bring his money home to his family. You know what I realized? I was fighting one time and I had a fracture in my foot. I got it during the fight. I still won, but anything could have happened. I could have lost to a guy that I was supposed to win. So anything can happen. So if you're not betting, that doesn't mean that you're not scared. That doesn't mean that you're. All right, listen. I want to start. I'm going to ask you both this, but I'll start with you, Kenny. What do you think about KSI and Wassabi? Who wins that fight and why?
Oh man, I'll be honest. I just think KSI wins, man. Everything he has over Alex, strength, experience. He's been training. People think he hasn't been training. He has been training under the radar. He just doesn't show everything. And I sparred him last year, and he's looking better. He's much better than the last time he fought. People think he's going to come.
How did that sparring go?
Sparring, like, no one really wins in sparring. It was a good spar.
I want to hear FaZe. Okay. I want to hear your prediction on that fight.
If I was a betting man, I'd probably bet on KSI. It's just because he has the experience. He's had much tougher opponents, obviously, right? And you're talking about size, speed, like the intangibles all lean towards JJ. I think one of the things people are saying is that he may be overlooking Alex, right? But JJ's not someone to overlook somebody. I don't think he's going to like take his foot off the gas or something. So it's going to be up to Alex to gain respect from KSI in the fight, can he punch hard enough? Can he gain JJ's respect? And then there's something there. But JJ's tough, man. He's just a tough guy.
I mean, he's a heavy favorite, so for good reason, if he did overlook him. Not that you should overlook anybody, but speaking of KSI and the tough fights he's been in, this is for both of you guys, starting with you, FaZe. Has KSI or Logan Paul or Jake Paul, are those the guys that inspired you to get involved in this sport to this degree?
Specifically, it was KSI. When he started the fight with Joe Weller, he had reached out to me because I had recently had an MMA fight and I put it on YouTube. And at that time, and he reached out to me and like wanted to train and stuff. So that's how we connected. And he kind of invited me into this community at that time. And ever since, I've just been involved in the community and the scene and had the fight with the Logan Paul KSI 1. And now here we are again, how many years later?
Nice.
Hey, Kenny, what about you? Are those dudes the ones that inspired you to get involved?
Yeah, 100%. I've wanted to like get into the YouTube boxing scene since the first KSI versus Joe Weller fight, actually. Ever since then, I've been, just been trying to get in. So finally got the opportunity in March where I fought Face Temper, and that's where it started.
All right, so both of you guys, are, I guess, KSI supporters and believe in him. He's been calling out Jake Paul heavy recently. So we all know that Jake has been elevating himself in the boxing world. Obviously, his fight against Hasim Rahman has just been canceled, but nevertheless, he's been progressing. KSI, JJ has not been fighting other, fighters to that level. But does he have a shot against a Jake Paul?
Does he have you're asking, does he have a chance?
Yeah, does he have a chance to beat a Jake Paul? JJ.
100%, yeah, of course, 100%. Like Jake Paul,
But you wouldn't put 10,000 on KSI versus Jake Paul.
it's an interesting fight because
maybe 1,000, right?
Yeah. Jake Paul has been active, but he hasn't really fought anyone. Like his opponents are just weird. He usually makes them. He has the weight advantage, or they're just out of the game for so many years. He doesn't fight like Tommy Fury. That's when we would have seen. Wow.
So would you say that KSI JJ would be his best opponent to date if he were to fight him next?
Who for Jake or JJ?
For Jake Paul's. You spoke on his resume, so we all know he fought Woodley twice and Anson given those guys. Would you say JJ KSI would be his best opponent till this date? Yeah,
I think that would be a really good fight. That fight needs to happen, man. Needs to happen.
100%.
FaZe, what about you?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I've said this before. Jake hasn't fought. I mean, he sparred Logan, but KSI has fought Logan Paul twice. Yeah. If you match up Logan Paul in comparison to mean, he just fought Floyd. I mean, he's an incredible athlete. He's huge. So JJ's opponent, his last two have been, that's a super tough challenge.
Right. But is JJ better than Tyrone Woodley?
Yeah, I know that's a tough one. But Woodley, the tricky thing about Woodley, and I like Woodley, but he's a puncher, right? Not a boxer, and he was older. Right, so it's not like the same. Like, how would if you put Logan?
He's a former UFC champion.
Yeah, but if you put Logan Paul and Woodley
to a guy
together,
like KSI, I mean that, I respect your opinion though.
Yeah, but if you put Logan Paul and Woodley together in a fight, right? If you compare those two, I would be concerned about Woodley. I would think Logan would have the upper hand in that fight in a boxing match, right? So that's where I come from with that.
I think Jake is so much better than Logan that I wouldn't give Logan the edge against a Woodley, but he's much bigger, so that fight makes sense. But a question I have for both of you is this fight an official professional boxing match? Are you guys using 8-ounce gloves and no headgear?
So we're using, I believe, 10-ounce and no headgear, right?
They said. I remember the contract said 10 or 12 and no headgear.
Yeah.
So it's going to be professional. There's no head guards,
Yeah.
No head guards. No. So that means it's going to go on your record forever. Is that what we're saying here?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is a pro fight, right? Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't know. Different jurisdictions are different. I did around the world. So if you fight in Dubai, I never know if that counts, right? If you fight in New Zealand, in the UK, I'm not sure how that compares.
All right, so FaZe, you've been training for a while. You've even had fights before. Would you say that you have knockout power? You think you can knock him out?
Yes, I have one knockout on my resume. So I definitely do. Training karate, the whole term of breaking boards and stuff, we train power, punching and kicking and doing everything else. So knocking somebody out is not easy. It's more timing, and landing at the right spot at the right time. But definitely, yeah.
Kenny, have you ever dropped anybody in sparring before?
Yeah.
Oh wow! So you believe you could probably knock FaZe out?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I've never knocked someone out in an actual fight. I've only had one, but if the opportunity is there, it comes.
What do you think FaZe is not going to be able to deal with? So, what do you bring to the table that he's not going to be able to counter?
I think we're going to go to war, and I'm going to bring the intensity, and I'm sure he's going to be ready for that. So he's already said himself he wants to go for a war, and I'm going to be ready for that.
All right, so but FaZe, what do you think you have over him besides the experience? Like, I'm talking about the intangible, speed, power. What do you think you have over Kenny?
Well, the speed and power combined with experience, right? Like landing punches in a fight. As Kenny knows, when making that walk into a ring is a lot different in sparring. It's a lot harder to land punches in a fight. It's so different than it is, in sparring. You can only implement so much or replicate so much. So the experience, and then I've been training longer, right? He's in a vacuum. He's been training more recently, but I do have the upper hand in I would think in speed and power. I don't know. I expect him to be fast and hit hard though. I know he's training hard, so it's not like I don't respect his power or his speed. I'm going to expect all of that, right? I don't want to overlook him. But yeah, I think I assume I'm going to have the edge in both speed and power.
You are the nicest opponents I've ever met in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen,
you guys are going to go out to dinner afterwards.
I got my kids out here waiting to take class. So, I mean, I'm a sensei first and a sensei last.
Us.
I just said this in a video. You did martial arts, right? Especially Shotokan, man. You shake hands, but then you smash each other. It's just a part of it's a part of the training. So it's not like it's going to take away from the fight. I want to put on a show. I want to entertain. I want people to remember, our event and our fight. I want people to appreciate that and enjoy it. So I might take that part very seriously.
In martial arts, it's totally different. I'm a black belt. In Shotokan, I get respect. You respect other people. You respect people over you. You respect people under you. In boxing, it's nothing like that. It is a free for all. It's a bunch of guys who just wants to beat each other up, and that's how it is.
In the ring, there's no friends in the ring.
No,
once the bell.
Are you guys fans of each other? Are you guys fans of each other's YouTube pages?
Well, I've been a fan of Kenny and FaZe Squad, that whole group. I mean, I don't know about me. I just do reaction videos, so I just do commentary. Right. So
I mean,
I'm saying you can still watch though. Kenny, do you watch any of FaZe's videos?
Honestly, no. But you know what?
Wow.
No, but you know what? We all grew up like as kids wanting to be in FaZe because there used to be like a big gaming community. So it would be a joke growing up. Oh, sign me up for FaZe and like that. But
Yeah, that's dope.
All right, listen. I was already going to tune into this fight. You know, we've had JJ on the show. I like KSI. I want to see what he's going to do next. Now I want to watch it even more because I'm interested to see what this war is going to be like. Because you guys like each other too much. I want to see if it really turns into a war on fight night. So good luck, and we'll be tuned in on the 27th, fellas.